Donald Trump is once again avoiding conflict, but this time, the MAGA movement is crumbling from within. With shocking divisions over immigration and tech policies, the very foundation of his base is at risk. Stay tuned as we dive deep into the battle tearing Trump's supporters apart. You won't want to miss this.
In recent developments that have left many both bewildered and entertained, Donald Trump, known for his larger-than-life personality and penchant for controversy, has taken a rather peculiar approach to addressing the growing chaos within his political base. Instead of stepping up to provide leadership during a time of deepening fractures within the MAGA movement, Trump has been spotted doing what he often does in moments of tension, retreating to the golf course. While at first glance this might appear to be a lighthearted anecdote, it is emblematic of a broader and more significant issue: the growing disarray within the once seemingly unified coalition of Trump supporters. The MAGA movement has always been a coalition of varied and sometimes contradictory factions. On one side, you have the tech-savvy elites, including prominent figures like Elon Musk, who have embraced a vision of economic progress and global talent acquisition. On the other side, there are the staunch nationalists, who prioritize policies they perceive as protective of traditional American values, particularly when it comes to issues like immigration. These two groups were able to coexist under the broad banner of Trump's leadership. But now, deep divisions are emerging, and those divisions have turned into open conflict. The crux of the issue lies in a policy debate over the H-1B visa program, which allows highly skilled workers, many from countries like India, to work in the United States. Musk and other tech leaders argue for expanding the program, emphasizing the need for skilled labor to maintain America's competitive edge in technology and innovation. For them, bringing in the best and brightest talent from around the world is essential for progress. However, this position has been met with fierce resistance from the nationalist wing of MAGA, which views the program as a betrayal of Trump's earlier promises to prioritize American workers. To them, allowing more foreign workers into the country undermines their vision of putting America first. What has escalated this debate into a full-blown war within MAGA is not just the policy disagreement but the rhetoric being used. Elon Musk has reportedly made inflammatory comments, referring to nationalist MAGA members using derogatory terms. These remarks have only served to deepen the divide and create an atmosphere of hostility. Meanwhile, Trump, who has built his political brand on being a strong and decisive leader, has been conspicuously absent from the fray, choosing instead to spend his time golfing. The symbolism of Trump's actions, or inaction, is impossible to ignore. Videos and photos have surfaced showing Trump signing MAGA hats, posing for pictures, and riding around in a golf cart, seemingly oblivious to the turmoil brewing within his movement. Many have likened his behavior to that of a king in a crumbling kingdom, indulging in personal luxuries while his court descends into chaos. This imagery has sparked widespread criticism, even among some of his staunch supporters, who are beginning to question his commitment to the movement he created. Trump's tendency to avoid conflict is nothing new. Throughout his career, he has often been accused of deflecting responsibility and sidestepping accountability. From controversies during his presidency to the events surrounding the Capitol insurrection, Trump has shown a pattern of disengagement when faced with difficult situations. Now, as the MAGA movement faces one of its most significant challenges, that pattern is once again on full display. The implications of this division within MAGA are profound, not just for Trump's political future but for the Republican Party as a whole. The tech-savvy faction, with its financial resources and connections, holds significant influence. Meanwhile, the nationalist faction represents the grassroots energy that was instrumental in Trump's rise to power. Without both, the movement risks losing its momentum and its ability to shape the political landscape. Social media platforms have also played a critical role in this unfolding drama. Elon Musk, who now owns X, formerly Twitter, has been accused of using the platform to silence critics within the MAGA movement. High-profile figures like Lauren Loomer have alleged that Musk is targeting them for speaking out against his pro-immigration stance, with many MAGA accounts reportedly being suspended or losing their verification status. Musk has dismissed these accusations, labeling them as trolling, but the controversy raises important questions about free speech and the ethics of platform ownership. Adding to the tension is Vivek Ramaswamy, another prominent figure aligned with the tech faction. Ramaswamy has made controversial statements suggesting that immigrant cultures, particularly those from India, are more successful than American culture due to their work ethic and focus on high achievement. While his comments were likely intended to highlight the benefits of immigration, they have been interpreted by many in the nationalist faction as an insult to traditional American values. This has only further alienated the nationalist wing of MAGA, which sees such remarks as a betrayal of the movement's core principles. Amid all this chaos, Trump's social media activity paints a picture of a leader disconnected from the struggles of his supporters. Instead of addressing the pressing issues within his movement, Trump has been posting about unrelated topics, such as celebrity engagements and New Year's Eve plans at Mar-a-Lago. These posts have done little to reassure his base and have instead fueled criticism of his apparent lack of leadership during a critical time. The growing discontent within MAGA is not just a challenge for Donald Trump, but a symptom of a much larger issue facing political movements in today's highly charged environment. MAGA was never just about policies or political ideologies. It was, at its core, built around the larger-than-life persona of Donald Trump. His character, his unique style, and his ability to rally and energize his base were what held the movement together. But now, as the fractures within the movement become more apparent, difficult questions are being raised about whether MAGA can survive without Trump as its central figure. For years, Trump's magnetic presence and leadership have been the glue binding the movement, but with the current infighting and diverging views, it's becoming increasingly unclear whether MAGA can maintain its identity once that force is removed. And if the movement cannot survive without Trump, then what does that mean for the future of American politics? Could we see the rise of a new movement to fill the void, or will this fracture mark the end of a significant political force? This ongoing conflict within the movement also brings to the forefront the complex and highly charged nature of immigration policy in the current political landscape. The issue of H-1B visas, especially in the context of the growing rift between the tech and nationalist factions of MAGA, is a perfect example of the difficulty in balancing economic needs with national identity concerns. The tech faction's argument for expanding the H-1B visa program makes sense from an economic standpoint. It's about attracting global talent and filling crucial gaps in the tech industry, which has seen exponential growth. But this position is at odds with the nationalist faction's view, which prioritizes protecting American jobs and preserving traditional American values. This faction sees the influx of foreign workers as a threat to the job market and the nation's core identity. While their concerns are rooted in the desire to protect American workers, their increasingly aggressive stance risks alienating those who believe that a more inclusive approach to immigration could help drive innovation and growth. The division between these factions exposes the deep ideological rifts that have always existed within the MAGA movement but were once overshadowed by the unifying force of Trump himself. Now that the movement is forced to confront these divisions head-on, it raises the question: can these factions reconcile their differences, or will they continue to pull the movement in opposing directions? As we look to the future, it's clear that MAGA is at a critical crossroads. The choices made by its leaders and supporters in the next few months will determine not only the future of the movement but also its place in American politics moving forward. Will MAGA continue to be a dominant force in the political arena, or will it fracture and splinter into smaller factions, each with its own vision of what America should look like? Trump's role in this future is particularly crucial. His decision to step away from the internal conflict within his base and focus on other pursuits, such as golfing and public appearances, might be a strategic calculation to avoid alienating key supporters. But this decision, while it may seem like a clever move to distance himself from internal squabbles, may also have long-term consequences for his political standing. By disengaging from the turmoil within MAGA, Trump risks losing the ability to control the narrative and shape the direction of the movement. His influence could wane, and his credibility might take a hit if he is seen as unwilling to address the rifts within his own base. In times like these, when the future of a political movement hangs in the balance, it's more important than ever for citizens to stay informed and engaged. The decisions being made today about immigration, economic policy, and the very future of political movements will shape the future of our democracy, our economy, and the way we interact as a society. This is a moment that calls for reflection and action, as the country faces questions about its identity, its values, and its priorities. The path MAGA takes in the coming months will undoubtedly have far-reaching implications, not just for its own future, but for the future of American politics as a whole. Will we see a new political order emerge from the ashes of MAGA? Or will the movement find a way to evolve and adapt to the changing political landscape? Only time will tell. If you found this discussion insightful, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue to bring you in-depth analysis and coverage of the stories that matter most. In a time when information is constantly evolving, staying informed is more crucial than ever. By subscribing, you ensure that you're staying on top of the most important developments and gaining access to critical insights that shape our understanding of the world. Let's work together to navigate these challenges and build a better, more informed future. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay tuned for more updates on this rapidly changing political landscape.